Hello to all my dear followers, and welcome back to Turkish series stars. Settle in, because what we're about to unravel will thrill anyone who loves a good twist in the world of celebrity stories, especially when the names at the heart of it carry the kind of electricity that lights up red carpets and comment sections alike. Today we're diving into a wave of fresh whispers and sharp-eyed observations surrounding two people whose every move sparks speculation, Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu. If you live for those moments when the entertainment buzz collides with real emotion, and if you've been waiting for a sign that something big is shifting between them, this is your moment. Before we launch into all the details, remember to subscribe to Turkish series stars and turn on notifications so you never miss the next reveal. You know we're here first when the clues start lining up, and today, they really do. The headline practically writes itself. Barış and Elçin, a surprising new direction revealed. What does that mean, exactly? Over the past few weeks, social media hints, industry chatter, and the kind of fan detective work that could rival a mystery series have converged into a pattern that's hard to ignore. It's not an announcement, not a press release, not a glossy photoshoot with a bold caption. It's subtler than that, and somehow more intoxicating. It's the sense of movement, the feeling that something is quietly setting the stage. You know how it goes, first come random sightings, then the overlapping schedules, then a carefully placed like, then two quiet smiles from opposite ends of a room. One sign alone is nothing. Together, they hum like a soundtrack. Let's rewind for a second. Barış Arduç, with the steel-eyed charm that made him a phenomenon in Karalık Aşk and the grit he's shown in projects like Kuzgun and Alparslan, has always guarded his private life like it's a precious role that demands absolute care. He shows up, he delivers, and he leaves the rest to the audience. Elçin Sangu, the fiery, magnetic presence who turned romance into a masterclass in Karalık Aşk and kept proving her range on stage and on screen, has cultivated a similar grace in the public eye. She's stylish without trying, funny without forcing, warm without oversharing. Together, they became a benchmark for on-screen chemistry, the kind you still feel years after the final scene. And for fans, that chemistry never really fades. It lingers in every throwback clip and behind-the-scenes photo that resurfaces on a quiet evening and explodes into trends by morning. So why are people whispering now? It started with sightings. Those fleeting moments where the city feels small and the lenses feel endless. A few weeks back, Barış and Elçin were photographed stepping out of the same building in Istanbul, just minutes apart. Not a dramatic entrance together, not a hand-in-hand walk down a sidewalk flanked by flashes. No, this was subtler. One left first, then the other, both dressed low-key, both wearing that look that says they're used to being seen but not eager to be watched. The building belonged to a well-known production house, which, on its own, might mean nothing. But then came the second sighting, a private screening at a boutique theater, where several actors and directors were invited for a presentation. They didn't sit together. They didn't make a show of anything. But they were there, in the same space, laughing with the same people, leaving just minutes apart again. Coincidence? Maybe. Until the third sighting happened. This time it was a studio on the European side, famous among stylists and publicists, the kind of place where projects are born quietly, with coffee cups stacked near scripts, and where people can pass each other in hallways without meaning to. Barış reportedly finished a fitting for an upcoming campaign. Not long after, Elçin arrived. Again, no joint shot. Again, nothing to officially stamp a headline. But the pattern grew undeniable. And when patterns form around people we know share history and chemistry, the air starts to crackle. Then the digital trail started blinking. This is where fans become forensic experts, and the smallest touch tells a story. A single like from Barış on a recent behind-the-scenes shot that Elçin posted, simple, neutral, but meaningful if you remember how measured he tends to be online. A few days later, a subtle comment from Elçin under a candid snapshot from a location that looked suspiciously similar to the production office seen earlier, just an emoji-free remark about the lighting. The kind of remark that feels casual but seems designed to be seen. Both of them following a new casting director's account. Both of them spotted by fans at a similar hour on opposite sides of a cafe terrace known for informal script readings. Individually, any of those could fade into the scroll. Together, they become a trail of breadcrumbs. What's the talk within the industry? You know how these whispers work, they don't show up in press releases, but they travel fast. There's talk of a reunion project, something tailor-made for their synergy, with the shade of romance and the spark of wit that people fell in love with the first time. Some say it might be a series that plays to their contrasting energies. His slow burn intensity opposite her playful fire. Others suggest a feature film for a streaming platform, a mature story about two people who once connected and are forced to cross paths again. The kind of script that lives in silences as much as it lives in lines. We've heard rumors of table reads, of early costume tests, of a director who has worked with both and wants lightning to strike twice. Nothing official. Everything plausible. But here's where it gets interesting. This isn't just about work. There's a feeling that runs beneath the headlines, a current of emotion that makes fans lean closer to the screen. The nostalgia for what they created together the first time has turned into a yearning for something new, something that acknowledges that they're older now, more seasoned, more protective of what matters. And in a moment when each is in transition. Barry's balancing the demands of ambitious roles with deliberate quiet, Elçin choosing work with personality and soul. This could be the perfect time for a chapter that's both professional and quietly personal. Not in a loud way. Not in a way that spills into drama. In a way that looks like two people who understand each other's rhythm, showing up in the same place for reasons that matter. We need to be clear, none of this is a confession, and neither of them has said anything on the record. In the entertainment world, truth loves to arrive on its own schedule. Yet there's a pulse to this story that feels different from a recycled rumor. You can sense it in how measured the sightings are, how deliberate the silences feel. No clumsy denials, no inflammatory posts, no chaotic missteps. Just presence. Just proximity. Just timing that seems, well, telling. Imagine what a reunion would do. The interviews alone would dominate the week. The premiere would feel like a homecoming. And the work? If the script is right, if the direction is graceful, if the tone is allowed to breathe, they could deliver something that doesn't simply echo the past but refracts it, older, wiser, more layered. Fans don't just want a photocopy of what they did together, they want evolution. They want to see the spark return in a new light, in scenes that land like heartbeats rather than fireworks. And if, while building that fictional connection, a real-world closeness deepens, it would be the kind of development that keeps us leaning forward without shouting. The kind that feels believable. Look at the surrounding pieces. Barış has been selective, playing roles that stretch him, keeping the public parts of his life balanced with his instinct for privacy. Elçin has moved with intention too, choosing projects that let her be playful one moment and piercingly truthful the next. Both of them know that timing is everything. And maybe that's the most compelling part, this doesn't feel rushed. It feels measured. It feels like a doorway opening because it's the right corridor, not just because there's a camera waiting nearby. There are people who claim to have seen them sharing a quiet conversation in a corner at a recent industry gathering, faces close, laughter easy. One person swears they caught a glimpse of script pages tucked into a tote bag, names blacked out but margins filled with notes. Another says they watched as the two slipped out a back exit, not together, but in that perfectly staggered choreography that signals a desire to keep a glow from turning into glare. Nothing explosive. Nothing reckless. Just gentle coordination, practiced discretion. And then there are those tiny gestures online that fans read like tea leaves. A song added to a playlist that echoes a mood from a scene they once played. A black and white photo of a city street that another posts from a slightly different angle hours later. A shared stylist tagged on the same day. A cinematographer liking both of their posts within minutes, with a caption elsewhere about finding the right light for something that matters. Perhaps it's coincidence. But then again, perhaps it's a quiet announcement, the kind that never uses the word announce at all. What makes this so magnetic is the respect these two inspire. They aren't scandal chasers. They aren't chaos makers. They're artists who know that intimacy, on screen or off, lives in the details. That's why even a rumor about them feels more like a promise than a stunt. It's because you can imagine them doing this the right way. No theatrics. Just the work, and whatever stands behind it. If there's a revived connection here, it looks calm, grown, deeper than then, trusting not just in memory but in present tense. Of course, we must keep our feet on the ground. Speculation is not proof. But when the picture forms from so many angles, 3 careful sightings, curated interactions online, overlapping circles in their professional lives, the odds begin to tilt. And let's be honest. The idea of them anchoring a new project while navigating a private closeness is the kind of story that feeds the heart of this industry. It's not about mess. It's about momentum. It's about 2 people who once caught lightning and might be guiding it now, instead of just hoping it returns. So what can we say with confidence? That there is energy around Barış and Elçin again. You can feel it in the rooms they enter, in the feeds they subtly edit, in the way fans are paying attention with renewed intensity. You can feel it in the way insiders speak, not with gossip's gleeful edge, but with the hushed excitement that accompanies a project that could be special. Maybe this is a love story rekindling in real time. Maybe it's the most anticipated professional reunion of the year. Maybe, as often happens in this business, it's both in different proportions, carefully protected by people who know exactly how much to share. Now imagine the rollout if it happens. Selectively leaked rehearsal shots that show just enough to make you gasp. A teaser that doesn't waste a single frame, built around glances and pauses. A first interview where they finish each other's thoughts without trying. A premiere night where the carpet turns into a love letter. Whether to the past, to the new work, or to each other. None of it needs to be loud to be unforgettable. In fact, with them, the quiet would make it even louder. As we watch, let's remember why we care. Because some stories don't just entertain, they anchor a moment in the culture. Barış and Elçin did that once. They might be doing it again, under softer lights and wiser eyes. And if all these clues amount to something official soon, you'll be able to say you felt it before you knew it. Until then, we'll keep tracking the signs with care and respect. We'll wait to see if the production house drops a hint, if the director posts a cryptic photo from a set that looks suspiciously like a familiar city street, if a music supervisor starts referencing vintage love themes and modern beats in the same breath. We'll watch to see if the likes get bolder, if the comments grow warmer, if the public silences become the kind that speak volumes. And we'll be right here with you when the curtain lifts. So, yes, the energy is real. The hints are multiplying. The timing feels perfect. Whether this becomes a confirmed romance, a landmark collaboration, or something that blurs the line between the two, one thing is clear: a new direction is taking shape for Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu. We can sense it. And we're ready. That's where we'll leave it for today. Thank you for spending your time with Turkish series stars. We've traced the sightings, decoded the digital language, and followed the industry heartbeat to bring you a portrait of 2 beloved artists moving towards something that matters. Now it's your turn. What do you think the clues mean? Did we miss a thread? Tell us in the comments. Your theories and your insights are the reason this community thrives. If you enjoyed this deep dive, like the video, share it with your fellow fans, and make sure you're subscribed to Turkish series stars with notifications on. The next chapter is coming, and when it does, you'll want to be here the moment it breaks.